Hey everyone, Charles, Liquor CEO. Just wanted to have a conversation today with everyone about activations, marketing, sales. Uh, it's that time of year. Here we are getting to the end of first quarter by now. Distributors have closed their books, they've reassessed their portfolio, they've thought about where else they want to maybe pick up some brands. They've also thought about sending out the slips of the bad news for the brands they don't want to carry anymore. So, hopefully by now, you're finishing up with trade shows, and you're ready to start getting to the hard work with your distribution partners about building accounts in your market. And so there's a fine balance between supplier, the brand owner, and the distributor. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Put a little bit of reality to this situation. So we're walking into second quarter, it's springtime. People are out drinking. The weather's nice. What are we doing? Let's talk about that a little bit. So. Whether your strategy is going to be for on-premise or off-premise focused, I'm old school. I firmly believe that on-premise leads to off-premise. So you should be focusing on restaurants, bars, clubs, places where everyone can consume the product on property. I also like this time of year for festivals. Weather's changing. People are excited to get back outside. It's a great contact point to make that initial introduction. And to start getting sips on lips and get people to taste your product so that you can start building up that depletion, that consumption, and then that'll turn into people knowing about your brand and hopefully going into your retail partners like Total Wine in Florida, some other places, some of the other chains, ABC if you're with them, and start to make those sales and those volumes deplete. On the note of retailers, liquor stores, they're, depending on your brand, certain chains may be better for you than others based upon how they promote their brand and what their value proposition is to the market. For me, in Florida, I particularly like Total Wine. They tend to be, they cover the state, and where they are tends to fit the demographic of the consumer that my particular brands are choosing. Other brands in our portfolio obviously cater towards some of the other ones. But even with that, I really like the local owners and the local chain retailers, liquor stores. Those guys are really, and gals, those folks are really personable with that, and they really like to wrap their arms around locally produced, locally owned, anything with a story like that. But I digress. So let's talk a little bit about how we, and this is my opinion and my suggestion for consideration for you, how to build accounts. I think you should start off with a list of, and you can work with your distribution partner to establish this list. Key accounts, restaurants, bars, clubs, like the on-premise accounts that are very relevant to your brand. You have like a tier 1 and then maybe a tier 2 and then tier 3. So very important, and lesser important as you start to scale up. So I think that tier 1 level, that all-star list of accounts, you personally take ownership of that list and you get out there and you hit those accounts. And you start building relationships with those folks to start understanding your brand from your mouth and your point of view. And your support, your first party to that. Build that relationship, because with what I've seen, and doing this for brands that I own, those relationships, even though you're the owner and you're local and everything, those still take time to mature and come to fruition. And it takes effort. It takes involvement. It's not just going to be something that come in there, oh yeah, we love it, you're local, we're going to put you on the cocktail menu and we're going to do this, that. Some may say yes. I'm not going to say it's 100% no, but sometimes those types of things, those responsible managers and owners of those restaurants and bars and such, they like to see how the market's going to react to your product and see what you're going to do to help build that awareness so that you can then earn the privilege of being on that cocktail menu. And as a point of reference, now that we're in the spring and several accounts are starting to re-up and revamp their spring cocktail menu, we're in that mode right now with them, that we've earned that right to have this conversation now a year and change later. So understand that. But you work with that. You ambassador You turn the bartenders into ambassadors. You go in, you do tastings, educate them on your product, your brand, your story, your differentiating points. Let them be ambassadors for your brand with the consumers, because you can't be there all the time. They are. They're on the front line of that. Get them to taste it, then understand a little bit more about it. That's what's going to happen. One thing that we've really liked, working with some of the local liquor stores around town, we do tastings. You get the opportunity to engage with people in that community. Those people in that community go to the restaurants in that community, and then there's a nice snowball effect. It starts to go. You'll start to see depletion going. And again, the other way around, when the bartenders are ambassador to do this type of thing, you're starting to see the traffic go back to the liquor store. So once you can burn that candle from both ends, I think you're really going to enjoy some traction there. So understand that those relationships start with those key ones that are consistent with your brand and very similar to your brand in terms of caliber, messaging, quality, etc. Focus on those. Develop the relationship. Be very personal with it in first party. Work towards getting to your activation points of cocktail menus, things of that nature. Maybe do some, happy hours, wine about it, drink about it, whatever you want to do, and let that lead to what you do off premise. For off premise, I really like tastings. You got to do tastings. It's a great way to meet and greet and meet the actual people in the community that are also going to those restaurants. So you'll sit to see that it's a 3D effect there. Wrap your arms around it holistically and take it on. One other thing I think is really cool is to do festivals. For tequila, for instance, we're coming up on Cinco de Mayo. For beer and for Irish whiskey, we just had St. Patty's Day. So I think there's a lot of things that you could wrap your arms around going forward. There's seafood festivals throughout Florida. There was Bike Week not too long ago down in Daytona. So depending upon your brand and what your image and messaging is, you identify these festivals, you start to be a part of them. It's a great place to meet people that are relevant to what your experience offering is going to be. Get out there and do that. This is the time of year when people are craving to start getting back outside, sitting outside. Decks and patios are reopening. Menus are being redone. This is the time that you should be doing that. If it's too late, never lose an opportunity to get out and see what's going on as you start to plan for what happens, when we want to start doing a fall activation. You can get ahead of that. People do tend to shift gears in how they start to consume things for the fall season. Fall-based cocktails, fall-based, types of events, less outdoor events, more indoor events, things of that nature. And then you'll be ready again for next spring when it comes around, which will be here sooner than not. We already start planning next spring this summer, just to put it in perspective. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, be very personal with it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. As the relationship between supplier and distributor is a very balanced and nuanced relationship. As a supplier, it's your responsibility to get out there and make the market. Build your brand, develop your brand in market. The distributor will deliver the product to those points of distribution for you. Some distributors have specific divisions that will go out there and actually work it with you, for you, in between. I think you take advantage of all those assets to the best that you can. But I think just as from accountability point of view, this is your brand. This is your retirement savings. This is your investor money that you're putting into developing a brand in markets. Go ahead and get out there and take the lead on that and be very assertive in how you produce and promote your brand and build it. So that's a little tip for today on as we get into, ready for Q2 2025, everyone's starting to sit outside, different types of events from golf to festivals to outdoor music concerts to restaurants with patios, indoor, rooftops, just whatever. Get out there, start to make those relationships, foster them as the supplier, brand owner, tell your story, work towards those cocktail menu placements that you want. So that and then educate the trade, educate the bartenders, cocktail servers, and your accounts so that they're speaking to your brand similar to that as you are. And to every extent possible, be very first party with your brand and personally go out and do it yourself. So, having said that, Q2 is right around the corner. Let's go out. Let's make some money this year. Let's get some liquid poured. Let's have a good time. Let's be the host of the party. Good luck, guys.